Good morning, YouTube. I've got a goodie for you today, brought to you by the sponsor of today's video, Rocket Money. If you've been in my streams at all over the past few months, you've probably heard me mention that I'm saving up for a house. And the sponsor of today's video, Rocket Money, is here to help. Rocket Money is the personal finance app that helps you lower bills, cancel subscriptions, and manage your money better. I'm personally using Rocket Money to set budgets. This way I can analyze my spending habits and create a custom budget that works for my lifestyle. It automatically monitors your spending habits by category and gives you a notification if you've exceeded your limits. Rocket Money also found that I was paying for an extra streaming service that I wasn't aware of, that I had thought I had canceled, and I was able to cancel it through the Rocket Money app. If you want to save more and spend less, join over the 5 million members who are using Rocket Money today, right now, by using the link in the description below, or by going over to rocketmoney.com/flats to get started for free now. Rocket Money has helped save its customers up to $740 a year with over $500 million in canceled subscriptions. You can also unlock even more features with Premium, but you can start for free right now by going down and clicking on my link down in the description below. Thanks so much to Rocket Money for sponsoring this video, and as always, I'll see you again tomorrow. It is time for our Season 13 beginning of season tier list. I normally wait about 2 weeks before I do these. It's been almost 2 weeks. By the time this comes out, it'll be 2 weeks. I think it should be fine. There's a lot of interesting things to talk about here, like the Sombra rework. Although they didn't technically call it a rework, I guess, but like it's a rework, right? And also, this is a great time for me to also flush out my problems with this season, because most of my problems with this season fall into the balance range. So first out, like always, we'll start off with the tanks. Although the tanks is going to be a little bit difficult outside of the top one, just because there's so many different variables right now with like one counter swap, and two, there is a very dominant playstyle that is taken over already, and it's not going to be prevalent to like 95% of players. You know, like when you make these tier lists, sometimes like you always have like the guy who's like, no, Fletch, you don't know what you're talking about. Junkrat's A tier, I dominate in gold. This is like the actual time that this tier list is probably not going to pertain to like, well, that's not true. I will tell you when there's parts that are not going to pertain to you, but like for most players, there's going to be a section. So let's start off with D.Va. I think D.Va is still really good. I don't think she's the dominant meta pick, but I think she's fine. I think that on dive maps, on high ground control maps, you can play Winston, you can play D.Va, but like she's definitely not as strong, I think, as many people still make her out to be. But people now have like PTSD from the last season with the speed ring, and it's like, yeah, I get it. It is kind of annoying. Here's my gripe with the community. I'm sick of you guys. And now you could say, Flats, you do the same thing. That's fine. We can say that. But the reason I'm sick of it is because whenever one tank is strong for a little while, everyone turns to hate them. It happens with every single tank. You cannot point out a single meta in the history of Overwatch 2 where a single tank has been strong for a little period of time where they were not hated. It's impossible. Now, Maga meta is fun, ban them. You cannot do it. It happens to every single hero. When Rein was strong in Season 3, Rein was hated. It was the biggest uptick in Rein hate I've ever seen in my entire history of playing Overwatch. Never saw it in Overwatch 1. Overwatch 2, whatever tank is dominant will become hated when it's strong. It's what happens. But the problem with that is there's two schools of thought. There are tanks that I believe are healthy, and there are tanks that I believe that are unhealthy. And certain tanks, like Orisa, Hog, and Mauga, are unhealthy. And the reason why they're unhealthy are for different reasons. Orisa is just a wall. A literal just wall, and you sit there and you basically are a denial tank, and when you lock Orisa, you say to the other tank, you are not going to get to have fun today. There's also a little bit of a difference on, like, you feel it on the DPS side. Most supports don't feel as much, but DPS feel it the most, where like if you play like a long range like an Ashe or a Widow and they have an Orisa, that Orisa just pokes you with like 2 or 3 bullets across the map, and all of a sudden you can't peek anymore. So it's like she's become really good at brawl up close and be a wall, but she also is really good at poking still, almost like old Orisa. It's just stupid. I think that characters that are just blatant, I up the other tank, or I this other player. Remember, in Overwatch 1, it was Doomfist for supports. And it's like, if they do that, it's just inherently unfun. Orisa is number 1. Hog just doesn't fit in 5v5. Just doesn't. He's a solo character. Like when you have a hog player on your team, you know you're not going to have a tank on your team. And if they have a hog on the enemy team, there's a good chance you're going to get snatched from Narnia and get one shot. Nobody likes playing with a hog or against a hog. It is a solo queue, single player experience hero. It doesn't bring anything to the team, and it just brings frustration to the enemy team. Mauga is literally self-survivaling or self-sufficient off of shooting the other tank. It encourages you to sit there and blast the other tank to stay alive. It also revolves in high-level play, revolves around his E. To walk in, press his E, give everyone that 40% like damage resistance, life steal, and stay alive, right? And it's like you revolve around pressing that one button. It's just brainless gameplay. The cage is awesome. I love the cage, but other than that, those three are just not healthy. There's characters people don't like, like Zarya and whatnot, but here's the thing. You have two options in Overwatch 2. Let me drill this in your head. You have two options. You either have one tank that's really strong for like 2 weeks, and then you have to keep doing balance patches to keep the meta shifted, especially for tanks. Or you play the counter swap game. You can tell when tank is really strong when one tank is really dominant. When one tank isn't really dominant, tank is not strong. If they're playing the counter swap game, tank is typically in a bad spot. So those are your two schools of thought. If you're stuck playing the counter swap game the entire game, it's because a lot of the tanks are really not that great, but they're all also not that bad, so you'd rather just counter swap the entire time. Or you have one tank that's really strong, and you're not playing the counter swap game, but both teams are probably going to play that tank. Those are your two options. Those are legitimately your two options. Pick one. You cannot complain about both. And when I talk about the other one, where one tank is being really strong for like 2 weeks, the way you fix that is with regular, quick balance patches that affect tanks. That's it. That's how you do it. That is actually how you do it. That way, it's shifted up enough that outside of your top 500, top 50 players, they are not getting stuck on a meta tank for a long period of time. And it also reduces frustration. That's how you fix that. If you want to, I mean, we have 6v6 playtest coming up stuff, but you want to talk about 5v5, you want to talk about like where we're at the moment, that's how you do that. That's how tank works. That's how it works. It's been 13 seasons. I think we have a good grasp on it. At least I do. At least I feel like I do at this point after all this time. And I've spent a lot of time playing other roles the last few months to try to get a new perspective on it. And I feel like it's given me a bit more of like insight of like why it feels the way it does. Doomfist. I think Doomfist is really good, but again, you have to be a good Doomfist, like always. Sombra getting butchered has a little bit to do with that, but there's a problem though. The evil horse in the room. Doom can be really good, but like, okay. Here's where you gotta be on Doom, right? You gotta be up here. If the Orisa player plays at this level, you're even. So if you play like this on Doomfist, you'll win. That's how that works. Hey, take that as you will. Junker Queen. I think Junker Queen's actually pretty good. But like, all these tanks are just gate-kept by one. So like, here's the thing though. Every time I make one of these tier lists, I try to tell people like a lot of these tanks aren't bad, they're just unfun. And then they look at the list and they go, well, they're an A tier, they must be really strong. But half the time these motherfuckers don't understand. There is one absolute behemoth in the room that with the rest of them. So even if I put Junker Queen at A really quick, because I'm like, you know what? I actually think Junker Queen's not bad. I think there's a lot of ways that you can kind of shut down Junker Queen, but like there's a lot of maps like Clash. Clash is a great example of a very good Junker Queen style map and game mode, because it's very sit there, wait. Okay, you're chilling, and then we all go and right. And it's like they can't really leave the point, so like they can't like kite away from you very much, right? And if they kite too far, which never really happens because it's hard to do on those on Clash, it puts them in a really bad spot. So like Junker Queen has a place, I think, in ranked on some maps. But like then you sit there and you're like, oh, the people who sit there, they go, oh, Flats, but you put them in A tier. That must mean that they're really good. Why? I don't think they're that good because of risk, or like or just like, well, the tanks must be really strong. It's like I feel like I almost have to put everybody down a tier or two just to drive the point home sometimes. I don't think they need buffs. I don't think that they're bad. I just think there's an evil horse in the room, which, by the way, if you can't tell, Orisa's been meta since mid-season of last season. The only difference was it took a couple weeks for it to kind of catch on. Here's the thing though, not everyone knows how to play Orisa. It's so dumb, but like some people don't know how to play Orisa. It's so stupid. It's so easy to do, but like some people really don't know how to play Orisa. And it's funny. It's genuinely kind of funny because they think they're going to lock the hero and just get an instant win, but like you kind of have to know what order you press your buttons in and like what the timing is for pressing your buttons. Because some people press the buttons too quickly and then they die. Mauga. I think Mauga is low-key actually really good. I don't know if I want to put him in A tier though. I think Mauga's low-key pretty good though. I'm gonna not scare anybody. But I think he's low-key kind of sitting in the shadows right now. Ready to go. Like, if Orisa fell off tomorrow, I think there's a good chance you could see Mauga or Queen. My gut is telling me that this is better than people think. And that he's in the shadows. I'm scared. Ramatra. I love how there was a division between people saying, oh my god, people are overreacting about the Ramatra change. It's a great change. You know, it's more healthy. First off, like, who decided that? Who got to decide? You got to decide what's healthy. Because, like, how the fuck, what? How does breaking shield at 2x5 speed, but removing a core gameplay element make him healthier? Wait, what was so destructive about that? It was only an interaction with, like, a very few amount of heroes. What are you talking about? Like, but, like, everyone's like, he's gonna be better. You know, like, you know, some people are overreacting. Why did all those people go silent? Because I don't see Ram anywhere. It's terrible. There's no reason to play Ram now. It's terrible. It's a shit change. It went from at least had a spot to there's no reason to pick Ram. What's the point? He gets eaten by every other tank now. Now what? Against Zarya, he's strong. I mean, if your strat is to all in the Zarya every single time on Ram, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think that is that hard to play around. You just full charge her every single time. You don't get enough punches to kill her. So, like, if you walk up and I know you're gonna all in me, I'm gonna just keep backing up, get both my bubbles up, and just keep backing up, and I will survive. And then you will run out of your shift, and then I will sit there and I wait for my next 2 bubbles, and I will be 80 charge the entire time. You know? And it's like, that's also to say, like, Rein is really good against Zarya, because Rein just runs over Zarya 90% of the time. Right? So, like, okay, now what? Like, it's the same thing. It's just a worse Rein. Okay, we can sit here and do the whataboutism game all day long, but nobody plays him. I don't see him in any games. I don't see anyone wanting to play him. So, like, okay, where are all these people that are big Ram defenders of the change and seeing Ram? I don't see them. Where are you guys? Queue up. You know what I mean? I don't see any of you. You know what I mean? I don't see a single one. Where'd I go? I don't know. I think Ryan's actually really decent. Again, though, the horse is in the room. If the horse isn't in the room, I think Ryan is probably in a really good spot. But because the horse is in the room, I kind of want to bump him down. Just barely. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think the fact that Orisa's so prevalent, I should bump him down 1. Okay, so here's where I'm struggling. Because the horse is in the room. The horse bullies, right? Doesn't really bully D.Va that much. But then again, like, you don't really want to be playing D.Va into Orisa, but, like, you're not going to play Orisa on, like, Gibraltar or some shit, right? No, I'm doing it. It makes sense. Because the horse is in the room, I need to drive it home. Okay, that makes more sense. All right, we're doing it. I'm changing. I'm doing this. The reason I'm doing this is because the horse is the dominant brawler. If the horse exists, it f***s everybody else. But the reason horse and D.Va don't really interact that much, because you play D.Va on, like, a lot of, like, high ground maps and whatnot. And if you play Orisa on those maps, she struggles a little bit more. And I gotta drive home that point, because, like, you're gonna have some absolute that's gonna read it and be like, oh my god, just shut up, please. It's like, dude, it's much more complex than that. It's not just, oh my god, they're B. It's like, it's so much more complex at this point. It's actually just, it's stupid. It's actually dumb. Other than the top level's super easy. Like, if you want me to do my S tier really quick, take me 2 minutes. I already have my S tier planned out. I'm already ready. Hog, I don't think Hog is bad. I think Hog is actually low-key pretty sneaky good. The problem, though, is Juno Ana's really good in ranked. And so because Juno Ana's really good in ranked, I know Juno Brig is, like, kind of like the number 1, but Juno Ana's really good too, which means when Ana's really good, you don't see Hog as often. But also Hog isn't, like, that great into Orisa. Like, or like, typically Orisa kind of bullies that Hog matchup, so, like, Hog ends up being worse. But I don't think Hog is bad either. Like, Ram is bad, but Ram also gets bullied by Orisa, which is why I knocked him down an extra 1, right? Like, Orisa bullies the Ram normally. Then with the changes, he's just worse, so I have to put him down 1. But, like, Orisa bullies the rest of this row. This row all gets bullied. So because Orisa exists, all of these guys don't exist, right? But Hog is just unbelievably better than Ramattra. In a ranked environment, absolutely. High C, bro, we are not making drinks out here. Like, I'm not gonna go through this list and make 90 rows where we go B+, B-, 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 C++, plus. Like, it has to have some semblance of simplicity. You can't just constantly play the game of like, well, it's just a C+. We can't do that, man. Like, it's why we talk about it over it too. Next up, Sigma. I think Sigma's actually low-key kind of pretty good. I don't know if I want to put him A, though. I think I might put him in the B with everybody else. Sigma's pretty good against Orisa, actually. Just, like, standing there and sustaining. But if they're actually playing, like, legitimate brawl together, like, you're gonna get kind of run over. But there's also the rest of the meta, so, like, I'm actually kind of leaning up towards A. I don't think Sigma's that bad. But Orisa's just so much better. So it's like, there's not really a reason to play Sigma. I'm gonna stick with my gut. I'm gonna do this. Okay, let's keep rolling. I think Winston's really good still. But again, though, like, you only play Winston on a lot of those dive maps. I mean, you can get away with it on other ones too, right? But it's not like the dominant #1, most, like, dominant competition, or like comp, right? Like, there's other things that are way better, but like Winston absolutely can work. Bull! I think Bull got better because Sombra sucks. Now, I know there's a lot of people that say that they're coping and say Sombra's not bad, but it's like, okay, if you just keep buffing the numbers, I'm sure Sombra will be good eventually. But like, she doesn't do anything better than any other hero now. She's clunky. Like, the way the translocator is tied to your stealth, it's just clunky. But because Sombra's worse, Ball is better. But then again, you could still do the same exact thing that you were doing to Ball before. It hasn't changed. You can still stand there with your team and wait for the ball to engage, and then hack him. You can still do the exact same thing. Like, you actually can play the exact same way, just out of stealth. So, like, even though Ball, I think, got a little bit better, it didn't make him magically great overnight. Hack is a shorter duration. Ooh, 1.5 second to 1 second. Ooh. Like, for Ball, it doesn't mean shit. Like, for other characters, sure, but like, it really doesn't mean a whole lot for Ball. Like, it really doesn't mean shit. It doesn't. It doesn't mean anything. The big stun is EMP. EMP is the only one that really is impactful. Zarya. I don't think there's a reason to really play Zarya at the moment. I don't think she's awful though, but like, just not her meta. Like, just way better. Cool, that part's done. Surely that was the hardest part, right? DPS. Ashe. I think Ashe is really good. Ashe is still really good. We'll talk more in a minute why I think Ashe is really good, because it's part of a larger conversation. Bastion. Yeah, Bastion's not good. Not really a reason to play Bastion. To be honest with you, I guess like I have seen like some all-in comps like trying to kill the Orisa. But I don't think like Bastion needs buffs. It's just like you kind of have to invest a lot to try to run down the horse. Because like with Fortify, Spinny Spear, Bob got hard buff with the hack nerf. Yeah, true, but like I don't really see people playing Sombra anyways. Cass, I'd say, is pretty damn good. Cass does pretty well with Orisa's being strong, because you can just sit there and just keep tapping her over and over and over. And then if they end up playing Winston, it's actually not that bad into Winston. It's not like the worst, it's not the best, but it's like not that bad. So Cass is just like a strong, just always, you know, just turn your brain off and it's good type pick. Echo, also really good. Not like meta defining, but exceptionally good for sure. I'm gonna jump out of order here for a second, and I'm gonna jump to Widow. Remember that part in the beginning when I told you there's gonna be parts of this list that are not gonna pertain to you? We are at that part of the list. We are officially in that part for a few minutes. Widow, at the highest level, has started to dominate. There was always the evil Sombra that kept Widow in check. If a Widow started dominating, and the DPS is getting rolled, they drop the ego, they go Sombra, and all of a sudden the Widow can't play the game. You watched me play any Widow, you know what happens to me. I'm not the best Widow player, but even at the highest level, same thing happens. It scales, right? It'll scale all the way up. So now that Sombra can't really do that anymore, Widow's dominating. Because it's not only that, but also because Orisa's meta. And what does Orisa have? No shield. Not really any team utility, right? Orisa survives just by being a wall. But how do you help the rest of the team? You don't. And so at the highest level, like we're talking like OWCS, like scrim comps, like pro play, I wish I saved the clip from Emong's stream the other night. I kind of want to go back and find it because he was playing with Rack. And they were all playing a ranked game, and they were all dying on cooldown to this Widow. And you can hear like there's like the the groans, like ugh. And so Emong's laughing, trying to like make it light of the moment, and is like, oh, I guess this is how scrims go. And you just hear him go, yup. And so Emong's like, yeah, is basically stand there on Orisa and don't press any buttons and wait for the Widow to kill something. He goes, and Rack responds, who's a pro player, and goes, yeah, you basically just sit there and wait for the Widows to have a 1v1, and then depending on who wins the 1v1, then you win and you walk in and you win the fight. And like you could literally hear the sadness because like that was how it was being played. Like the game is coming down to a Widow 1v1. And then, you know what? If you don't believe me, I bet I could find the VOD. I bet I could find it.
I'm sure you have a blast scrimming this every day.
Yeah. A little fun. It's a 4v4 with a one shot over there.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
You get the gist, right? Whereas like it's a 4v4. Oh yeah, I'm literally here. I'm so glad I'm not playing this shit. F that. I'm literally there at the moment. I think there's a little bit more after, but I think it's like as like either like the round ends or something else. But regardless, though, you get the point, right? It's literally a 4v4 game at the high level. You just sit there and you wait. So it's like you have the bully waiting on the front line for the Widow to get a kill, right? So this is probably not pertaining to you. And like I said, it's also not pertaining to you because then there's another half, right? And you might go, why the f is Genji A tier? Genji's bad, whatever it might be. Well, Genji's pretty good with Widow against Widow. So you play the Genji because you're sitting there, right? You're sitting there waiting and hoping that their Widow's making a mistake, trying to kill the other Widow, right? And so if they're like off-angling really hard or looking for something, the Genji can try to go get the 1v1 kill, right? And puts pressure onto the Widow because the one who would put pressure before was Sombra, right? And you can't do it with Tracer as well because Tracer doesn't really have verticality. Genji has verticality, right? Because Widows typically go for high ground or going for hook shots or whatever. The Genji actually can do it much better. So Genji's actually getting a lot of play. I don't know if I want to say Genji's S tier though, right? Like I like turn your brain off can play every game. I don't know if you can even turn your brain off to play Widow in every ranked game. But like Widow is dominating at the highest level. Like Widow is absolutely the best pick. So I'm almost half tempted to put Genji up there. But I also think Ashe is really good. And I also think Cass is really good. And I also think Echo's really good. But I think Genji's also really good. But like, do I think they're at the same level as Widow? And you can get it like as much done? No, I think Genji's there as a gatekeeper to Widow. Now, the other one, we're gonna skip ahead really quick, is Sojourn. Apparently Sojourn's also getting a ton of play as well. So I'm actually gonna throw Sojourn up here. Even though I think Sojourn is personally worse than Genji in these comps, the reason I'm gonna put Sojourn higher is because when I look at these, I typically look at for ranked, right? I look at it as a ranked experience, but I also do take into account high level play because like high level pro player plays ranked, right? It's not going to be every game like that, but when you bump into one of those games like that, you're like, whoa, I understand why this is the dominant comp. I understand why everyone's playing this, right? But Sojourn is actually really good into Orisa, right? Because two things. One, Sojourn got the change to her E, so you're able to build up your railgun a little bit quicker. But two, you also just absolutely destroy Orisa's teammates by just shooting the Orisa for like 4 seconds, getting full charge rail, then turning and just trying to delete somebody, right? So like against Ryan, against Winston, against Diva is a great example. You're not getting any railgun charge. You can't just delete people. But against Orisa, you basically have almost 100% railgun uptime. So because Orisa's the most played, you have Sojourn who's trying to build up one-shots off of the Orisa, and then Widow actually hitting the one-shots. And the 12-second decay, right? So you could sit there with your one-shot pretty much ready. I know it's not actually a one-shot, but it's like 3-4 shots, 3 or 4 projectile bullets, or they're kind of low, boom, and then they get deleted, right? And if you do the disruptor shot, oh my goodness, like if you disruptor shot as they turn the corner and then you hit with like 2 pellets of the projectile and then immediately railgun, they just disappear. Because between the disruptor shot damage, that 2 pellets, and then the railgun, poof, exploded. So I think Sojourn's really good. Hanzo, I don't think Hanzo's actually that great. I know his one-shot's back, but I actually think he feels worse. I don't know. I got used to the faster shooting Hanzo. I got used to the bigger projectiles. And I know someone's going to sit there like, well, I'd rather his one-shot. You know, it's a skill shot. You got used to the large projectile skill-ish. I don't give a f, man. I don't care anymore. I'm just telling you that, like, I got used to always getting the dink, 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 dink shots, right? Like the little hit markers. And now you get less of them, right? But you do get the one shots, but you're also going to be aiming for the one shots more. You're going to look for the Ana in the back. You're going to look for whoever's there, right? And so I feel like you just do less, you know? I feel like you do less most of the time, and then you're kind of back to spamming. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you just kind of spam looking for headshots as opposed for spamming looking for damage or looking for helping out on kills. Or hell, I used to use Hanzo as the anti-hog hero. I don't even know if that would still work. Junkrat, okay, Junkrat low-key, I think Junkrat low-key cooks. I think Junkrat's actually insane. I think Junkrat is that guy. I think he's that guy. But, like, not maybe like a high-level meta thing, but, like, in ranked, I think Junk is so good. Actually disgustingly good. I don't know, man. That is my own personal take. I think Junk is super good. I think he's slept on really, 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 really hard. He's in every game. Oh, I don't even deny that. I see lots of Junkrat. I see tons of Junkrat. I've played lots of Junkrat. I think that the buffs made his spam even better, which is like the opposite of what they said they were trying to do. I remember, I think, reading it and going, isn't that going to do the opposite? It did. Shocker. Anyways, I think Junkrat's really good. Mei. I think Mei's really good. I think Mei's actually really good. I think the reason why you don't see Mei as much is because you'd rather the one-shots than the walls, because, like, you can't really wall off the Orisa. But I still think Mei is really good. Like, if you wall off the Orisa, there's no way you're killing her in time. So, like, I should bump Mei down one. But I also think if they don't have an Orisa, like, they have literally any other character on that tank role, Orisa's really good against the tank roles. And also tanky enough to fight against a lot of these guys. Like, just maybe not against Widow. I mean, I guess you could kind of against Widow. If you're gonna, like, if you're good at getting a couple shots off and you, like, the Widow misses one shot. Like, okay, you can beat the Widows at range on Mei because you have no fall off, but the Widow has to miss one. So, like, if the Widow misses one and you hit both yours, you'll win, right? But, like, if the Widow doesn't miss, you lose every time. Pharah. I think Pharah's actually really good too. I know it's just looking like the A-tier parade, but I think Pharah is actually really good. Reaper got a little bit worse after the armor changes. And there just, like, isn't a reason to play a Reaper into Orisa. You don't play Reaper into D.Va, really. Reaper into Winston, maybe. But, like, Reaper into Sigma, not really. But, like, if it was against anyone else down here, really, really good. He's still pretty good against the, like, DPS with, like, the tighter spread. Like, look at who's meta, or who's being played. Widow, you ain't getting there. Sojourn, maybe I wouldn't be against that one. Genji, sure, I'll give you the toss up. Ashe, I'd give you the toss up. Cass, not really. I think Cass wins those. Echo, come on now. Junkrat, again, you got to sneak up on him a little bit. Mei, you might win those, but honestly, Mei will stall you out long enough that you're gonna be in a bad spot. And Pharah, come on now. So, like, you know what I mean? Soldier, I think Soldier got a little worse. Not by any, like, just because of what's happening around him. I think that one-shots being prevalent, it just takes too many bullets for you to really deal with the one-shot heroes. Sorry. The one-shot heroes, you don't really put enough pressure on the Orisa. If it's a dive map, D.Va really shuts you down. It's not too bad against Winston a lot of times, but if the Winston's really good, he's going to just chase you around. Ball getting a little bit better also kind of hurts Soldier because Ball absolutely shits on Soldier. If you're like Ball Tracer, Soldier just disappears, literally can't play the video game. But you could counteract that if you had a Sombra on your team and, like, the Ball would actually start losing. But, like, now that you don't have that and you're, like, as like a teammate helper type of thing, yeah, it's just unfortunate. Things just moved away from him, but I don't think he's bad. I think he's fine. Sombra. I think Sombra sucks. That's it. And now, I know there's lots of people arguing and saying, like, no, she's good. You have to learn how to play her. Okay. And I challenged Ruben on this. I said, name me one thing Sombra does better than any other hero now. And I think his response was, God, you guys were there. What was it? It was like soft off-angle flanks. And I was like, what the f does that even mean? You just made that shit up. And I was like, okay, can you give me another example of another character who also off-angles? And I think he told me, what do you say? Cass, Reaper? I think he said Cass, Reaper, and someone else. And I go, bro, are you high? What the f are you smoking? Like, I was like, you just said 3 completely different roles of hero. So I'm like 90% sure he was trolling me. He said Cassidy, Reaper, and Hanzo. I'm I'm pretty sure Ruben was trolling my ass. I don't think I took him serious. I don't think I should take him serious there. But also, all these Sombra players, Ruben, I love Ruben. That's why I can joke with him. I don't even see them playing Ruben. Like, I don't even see him playing Sombra. I told Ruben, I was like, play Sombra. And he played Sombra for one round we played. We actually did win the round. I ain't gonna lie though. I think we won the round because of some other stuff. Just throwing that out there. But like every Sombra I play with, it has like 1,800 damage after the first round. Like we pushed 3 points of escort and they have 1,800 damage. I'm like, okay, dude. You're spectating over there, man. Oh, my Juno has 2,000? Oh, okay, fair enough. I'm all for heroes that are like really unfun to other roles to not be super strong, but I don't think that they should be dumpstered to the point where they're unplayable. You know what I mean? Unless you're planning on reworking it, and that's fine. Like, for example, Hog. Like, Hog, when he was in the dumpster between, like, Season 2 and Season 8, is because they knew we were going to rework him. It's like, okay, was the Hog rework really a rework? I don't know. We can argue with that, but whatever. I think it's, like, one of those things where it's like, if you plan on changing them, fine. I'm cool with them leaving him in a weaker spot until then. But this change was terrible. It was just ass. It was just not good. Symmetra. I don't think Symmetra's great right now, but I don't think she's awful either. I think she's actually does okay into the Orisa comps and the Diva comps on those brawl maps. However, though, there just isn't really a reason to play Sim over other characters. But I don't think she's necessarily bad. I think she's just like a sneaky okay pick. Not sneaky good. I wouldn't say sneaky good. I'd say sneaky okay. You see a Sim and you're like not scared, and then all of a sudden they're level 3 beam and they're like walking you down. You're like, whoa, what the f? Torb. I think Torb's also in the same category. Is like not bad. I think he's okay. I think he's fine. Really heavy spam comps are annoying to deal with right now. But like, I don't think he's insane. He's one of the few heroes that can actually tank a one shot from Widow. So that's actually not that bad, especially for ranked. Like high level, like high level scrim play or comp play, you're never gonna see a Torb, but like, or at least I don't think you will. But in ranked, yeah, absolutely good. I think he's fine. Tracer. I don't think there's almost ever a situation where Tracer's bad. I just don't think she's the best hero in the game anymore. At least in this format, I think Widow takes the spot, but Tracer's still really good. I got no problem. Venture. I think Venture's okay. I don't think Venture's great though. I just don't think the meta's favoring Venture because it's really long range one-shot poke heroes, and Venture is an up-close brawler. Not much you can really say about that. Like, someone out there is gonna look at it and go, Venture's so strong, I die to Venture all the time. Hey, I'm sorry to hear that, but like, when really long range poke heroes are strong, a character where you have to use all of your cooldowns to get there is not going to be good. And if you're dying to them, I'm not saying you suck, I'm just saying you're probably playing in a completely different elo, and you're probably playing in a completely different style. And so, when you have a really good Widow and a really good Sojourn and a really good Orisa, right, the Venture's not even gonna get there. They're not even gonna see you. Alright, on to supports. Supports is actually kind of difficult this season. That's not true. It's kind of a little bit difficult. Let's set the tone. Juno. Juno's still probably the best support in the game. But I think it's because of Juno's ult. It's actually not because of the left click. The left click nerfs kind of made Juno feel a little bit more ass, but not total ass. It's like substantially more ass. Now, you have to be really close to do your actual healing and to your actual damage, but like, you could argue like, oh, you have a lot of mobility. Yeah, but you don't know how to self-heal either. So like, I think it all revolves around Juno's ult. Like I was playing some Juno the other night and I would get like 2,000-ish healing, 3,000-ish healing to get my ult. And then I'd pop my ult and I'm at 5,500. Let me say that again. I spend the entire round building my ult. I'm up to like 3,000 healing. Pop my ult. I'm at 5,500. It's the ult. The ult is what is the team fight winner. The ult literally is a win button if you do it well, which is why you typically have to mirror the other Juno's ult unless you know that you're going to lose or you know that you're going to win, right? I think when Juno's ult gets nerfed, it's not if, it's when. When Juno's ult gets nerfed, I think Juno's going to tumble. I think Juno could potentially tumble. The thing is, though, Juno's really fun to play. And like, I think characters like Ana, when they're really fun to play, they don't tumble as hard as characters that aren't traditionally as fun to play. But I think Juno could fall off really hard if they nerfed her ult. This might be a little bit controversial, but I actually think Ana is actually really good. I think Ana is exceptionally good, especially in ranked. I think Ana Juno is one of the best comps in the game. In ranked. If we're talking pro play, we have to throw Brig in there because Brig actually is, it's Brig Juno is what the number one is, right? And the reason for that is because the Brig protects the Juno and you can brawl in, but also at the same time, everybody's standing there waiting for the Widows to kill each other, and then the Orissas are sitting there waiting too, right? So like, basically you're still playing bodyguard Brig, but in ranked though, you're not always gonna have insane Widows. You're not gonna always have Orissas. You're not gonna always have this other stuff. Ana Juno actually pumps so much healing that you can keep characters like Mauga, Rein, Hog, Ramatra, Diva, Winston, all alive. You can keep them alive through the damage. You do so much healing. Like, you pump. And then you, on top of that, throw in anti-nade, which can be a team-winning fight, unless they go Kiri. And I think when they have Kiri Juno or Kiri Ana, it's just significantly worse overall. Like, you just basically sit there and wait to counter Ana nades, which is, again, not bad, but I just think it's worse, right? So it's like, I think Ana is actually exceptionally good, especially for ranked, right? I think Bap's really good. I just don't think he's as good as these ones. I still think Bap's really good. If I could put someone as close to up here as the rest, I would probably put Bap. Illari, I don't think Illari's bad. I don't think Illari is like insane either. Like, it takes too many shots to threaten these guys, and Orisa, like, he just doesn't do enough, I guess. But it's like not bad by any means. Not bad by any means at all. No, I don't have like a whole lot to say though. Kiri's still Kiri, still really good, but just not as good, I would say, as like these. I think these are the best right now, but Kiri's still really good. Like, if you have like a really mechanically talented Kiri that just walks in your backline, she could just kill everybody. Like I can't tell you how many games I've just randomly lost because like their support player gets really frustrated that their DPS suck or their tank sucks, and then all of a sudden they go Kiri and I don't see their Kiri for like a minute, and then all of a sudden I like hit the kill feed and like my whole backline's dead. I'm like, what? So yeah, that's still a thing. Lifeweaver, I still think Lifeweaver's really bad. It's just tough. It's tough. It's just a numbers character. That's it. I'm sorry. It's just a numbers character. There's not much you can really do or say. It all revolves around his pull and his good shield break on his needles, and they did good. The rework changes were good. It made him better, but I think Lifeweaver could be a hero that's really good in like 6v6 format, where you don't need as much damage coming out of your support line. That's where I'm at. More where you like healing is more prioritized and more important. Lucio, I think Lucio's still like good. He's still good. I actually prefer the more healing over the speed comps at this point, because like Juno gives speed. So it's like we really need speed. I'll have the Juno, but I like the actual extra healing and the nano of Ana and the anti-nade utility over just like raw speed and raw like a little bit of healing for everybody. I don't think it's as good. Mercy, I don't think Mercy's like bad per se. I actually think you know what? I'm actually kind of half tempted to put Mercy up. You know, I'm actually half tempted to put Mercy up into B. No, that's crazy talk. The only reason I was thinking about it is because like I think Sojourn's pretty good. Cass is okay. Ash is pretty good. But Ana's just so much better. Juno's just so much better. Brig is just so much better. It just comes down to like, I don't know. Like I could definitely see Mercy doing better this season with like like DPS players that are meta, right? Or DPS characters that are meta. I mean, she's playing and enabling Sojourn and Ashe a lot. Yeah, but like that doesn't matter though. Like that was the whole point why I was thinking about putting her into B, but in retrospect, it doesn't matter because like the slight bit of damage boost you can give to Sojourn or to Widow or to Ashe, it doesn't matter because they'll just hit a second shot and then they can secure the kill. But instead, you can put more healing into your tank. You can put more supporting into your Juno to make sure they don't get dived or they don't get rolled. And you can also like you just pump all your healing into your tank or hit an anti-nade. Like it's so much better. Like there isn't a reason to do this, right? Like I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm just saying there isn't a reason. I don't think Moira is bad. I don't think Moira is good. I think Moira, like I've seen like the flank Moiras. The flank Moiras are back. I don't know why. I've seen so many flank Moiras recently. I don't know what's going on with them, but and lastly, Zenyatta. I actually think Zenyatta is actually low-key slept on right now. I think Zenyatta is actually low-key slept on. When Orisa's typically meta, Zen is actually really good. And the reason for that is because like the Orisa's face tanking and you throw a Discord on him, Orisa could fall right over. Also, you also can get the right-click one-shots across the map on the Widow if you're really ballsy. I don't recommend it if their Widow's good, but if their Widow's like missing some shots, absolutely you can just delete them. So you put good pressure, but yeah, it's mostly this interaction right here, this Zen-Orisa interaction, which makes Zen better. So, okay. I think I'm pretty good with that one. I think that's a pretty good one to me. If I was gonna make any last second adjustments, I might bump Queen up, but I'm not gonna. I might bump Sojourn down, but I'm not gonna. I'm gonna leave it the way it is. There you go. There is your season 13, beginning of season tier list.